Hello folks, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In this video, we will be discussing our NCERT series wherein, like earlier I've told, the new NCERT series of chapter 6 has a combined aspect of your social sciences, which includes subjects such as your geography, history, polity, economy. In this video, we will be only focusing on your polity from your 6th standard NCERT. So your polity chapters from 6th NCERT are chapter 9, chapter 10, chapter 11 and chapter 12. So today we will be looking into the 12th chapter of grassroots democracy, local government in urban areas. Okay. Previously we had discussed the grassroots democracy, local government in rural areas. Now, what exactly, as usual, like we do for all the other chapters, what can we expect from this chapter, or what are the contents that we will be discussing from this chapter? So here it focuses on how cities and towns are managed. Okay, what are the key topics that we will be discussing here means, let's say urban local bodies. What does it mean? Understanding your concept of municipal corporations or your Mahanagar Nigam, okay, for larger cities. And also we will be discussing about your municipal councils, also called as Nagar Palika. Okay, this is for towns. And again, for transitioning or buffer areas, we have Nagar Panchayats. Okay, so this is what we will be discussing, urban local bodies. Then we will see their respective functions in that particular area, such as garbage collection, sewage treatment, street lighting, maintenance of parks, roads, water supply. Okay, then we will also be seeing the structure of these municipal bodies, as in the ward system, how councillors are elected, what is the role of mayor. Okay, then we will see about participatory democracy. Participatory democracy means how citizens can get involved. Okay, and what is the role of your one-third reservation for women that is given. Okay, example, we will also be discussing about your indoor cleanliness projects in your Swachh Survekshan project. Yes, and we will also at last compare, okay, the similarities and differences between your rural bodies such as Panchayat Raj and urban local governments. So this is what we will be seeing in your 6th standard NCERT chapter 12. Okay, let's get started. Now, look into this. As usual, your NCERTs are starting with these thoughts. See, it says here, I desire that a full-fledged local body should be immediately formed so that people may really know what is an administration, okay? What are the franchisee, what are the powers, what are the rights and what are the privileges in a small sphere in their own villages. Now, this is told by Rustam K. Sidhwa, who was a member of Constituent Assembly. Why exactly do you think they have told that? I want a full-fledged local body for people to realize, yes, this is what is a right, this is what is a privilege, this is what means administration. Why is he telling? The keyword here you have to look into is a full-fledged local body. Why are they telling a local body is what people will realize? Okay, this is what administration is. See, it is very simple. See, in our country, we have 3 tiers or 3 levels of government. What are those? At the central level, okay, and at the state level, and lastly at local level. Yes, the people's interaction is maximum. Common people, day-to-day interaction is maximum with your local self bodies compared to your state or center. Understanding? So if a citizen has to understand, okay, this is what is administration, because what they see at the lower levels is what they perceive at the higher levels. If the lower levels are something that is there to help out people's crisis, mitigate the issues, and also help them out in times of need, play the proper role that an administration is supposed to do, they will believe and have the same image for all the higher levels, that is state level and central level. If not, okay, if it is, let's say the government is or the local governments are not having good governance, they are not being in the side of people, they are not doing their citizen centric duty, then at that point of time your people will assume that is the same for all levels of government, and this is what is administration. So the first and foremost and most important part of your administration is your local self government. Also, look at the name here, local self government. Why are we calling it as local self government? Is because we are giving considerable amount of autonomy. Okay, so these are some of the important things which makes your urban local bodies or rural local bodies extremely important. Okay, now look at this. Yes, the earlier chapters that we have seen, we have spoken about democracy, good governance, how to empower citizens so they will actively participate in country's functioning. Now let's for a brief moment discuss what is this democracy, good governance and empowering of citizens. We have said democracy means it is rule by the people. Yes, the rule is by the people. And what is good governance? If you see, how is the administration of the country? Is the administration of the country people centric? Okay, these are some of the important things that makes people have trust in the government, or this is what develops into something called as public trust. Okay, if they don't have public trust, that is the government is not having public trust means, then your people also will not participate in the election processes. Why do you think they will want to take part in the election process when they feel like okay, this is what they will do? Nothing of the, let's say, participating in election or election voter turnouts, these are all dependent on the fact whether they believe or trust the system. So your public trust is what enhances the trust in the system also. Okay, trust in the system becomes very important for them to see whether this has any impact for us. So all this combined is what will have a good administration in your rural or your urban areas. Okay, so participative democracy means people participating in the democratic processes is dependent on their trust. Okay. Now we saw earlier in the previous chapter about your local government in rural areas. There we divided into your Panchayati Raj system pe three tiers. One will be first Gram Sabha, okay, which has your Gram Panchayat. First level is Gram Panchayat. Second level is your Panchayat Samiti or your Mandal Panchayat or intermediate level or block level Panchayat. And the third is your district Panchayat or Zilla Parishad, right? Here in your urban local governance, if you see, it is a little bit much more complex than your rural areas. Why? Because if we have to see about your governance and administration in urban areas, you have to first take an entire look of your Indian system of governance. Why? Now, let's say how exactly is our country divided? Look at this. Can you look at this picture? Yes. See, in this pyramid is what is representing our India. First is at the union government, which is at the national level, okay, or your central government. Then is state government at state level. Yes, previous class we also discussed it. Now local government comes the third tier. This is the first tier, second tier, third tier पे two divisions. Rural panchayat, urban local bodies. Okay. So in rural panchayats, what are there if you see? We discussed Gram Sabha, Gram Panchayat, first level, Panchayat Samiti, second level, Zilla Parishad, third level. Yes, this we have already discussed. Now, if we see with regarding to your urban local bodies, okay, largely urban local bodies, we are dividing it based on your population. Okay, now if we start from the basics, we have people of the ward, okay, where let's say your particular municipal area is divided into small imaginary lines called as wards. Okay, then we have ward committee, then we have municipal corporation or municipal council or nagar panchayat. Now what is this? If I have to divide, let's say from, let's assume from village, if I am going to your urban areas, there will be this transition zone or buffer zone. This is called as Nagar Panchayat. Okay. So here if I have to draw it in three levels, first level will be your Nagar Panchayat. Nagar Panchayat is your buffer stage, that is crossing from village and going to your urban area. The second tier up, okay, this is from bottom to top. First is Nagar Panchayat, means second will be municipal council, where the population of your municipal council, see, I have mentioned the division is based on your population. If the population residing in a particular area is up to 10 lakh people, then we are going to call it municipal council. Okay, then if you have a particular area which is having more than 10 lakh people, okay, that will be called as municipal corporation. So in your rural areas, the division, if it's going to be first level is gram panchayat, second level is going to be panchayat samiti, third level is going to be your zilla parishad. In urban areas, it is going to be such as nagar panchayat, municipal council and municipal corporation. Okay, how are we defining your municipal council and municipal corporation? First and foremost criteria is your population. Okay, and now let's discuss about one main important thing. What is the difference between rural and urban area? See, first and foremost, understand if you are going to categorize something as rural area, let me take it this way. Previous chapter pay we have discussed we have more than 6 lakh villages. Yes. So there are villages in the northeastern part of India. There are villages in the western part of India. There are villages in the central portion of India. There are villages in the southern portion of India. Right? Then all of this is getting characterized as rural area, means they will have one similarity. Despite different cultures, different occupations, their preliminary dependence is on primary sector. What is here primary sector? Agriculture and allied activities. Agriculture and allied activities means agriculture is the main source. Then you can have floriculture, horticulture, that is with respect to fruits, flowers, your animal husbandry. All this is their main source of income. Understanding? This is a common defining factor for your rural areas. Now, when we see with respect to your urban areas, largely it is manufacturing and service sector dominated. Okay, The urban areas are service and allied sectors. So the difference between the two, okay, is what we are calling as urban and rural bodies. Your urban areas, there are many bigger cities, many smaller cities. This we will call as tier 1 city, tier 2 city, tier 3 city. Based on the economy, it contributes also to the national GDP or your total country's wealth, right? Now, based on what kind of economy it develops, okay, that involves in attracting a large number of people. So if large number of people are working in one particular place, then that will have a different set of challenges compared to your other areas. That is what we will be exploring further. Okay, now with regard to urban local bodies, urban local bodies ka government in the local level is called as urban local bodies. They are decentralized in nature, which means the authority, the central authority, whatever is there, it is coming from the local communities and not coming from your upper level. Okay, which means in here, okay, wherever we are going to call as urban local body, the local communities have a direct say in how their area has to be managed in case of any crisis or issues, which means there is large amount of autonomy, and also there is a large amount of direct people participation. Okay, which means they are involved in how the city has to be run. So, if there is a mechanism where both the citizens and the administration come together to decide on the overall aspects, then that will lead to your concept called as decentralization. Okay, now let's break down as to how exactly is our urban areas divided. Like I told you, the cities and towns are divided into imaginary lines called as wards. Okay. In this wards, there will be something called as ward committee. Okay. What will this ward committee do if you see? It will conduct health camp. It will organize campaign against the use of single-use plastic because it is harmful for the environment. Okay, and it is not good for the country in the long term. So they will also keep an eye on anything or any issues that might happen in that particular ward. What issues might happen in a ward? First and foremost, understand how people are there in a ward. Ward means, again I told you, urban area ka one of the defining factors is more of service sector, say you are gaining economy. Okay, and if that particular area is contributing more economically, then people tend to come there more, right? So when large amount of people are trying to be in a small section of land, they have to share the resources. Optimal utilization or better utilization of resources will lead to a good, okay, administration. Now in this, how can you tell it is a good administration? Means both people have to be watchful as well as administration has to be watchful. Here by administration, here we are talking about your ward committees. Okay, they will look into issues such as any water leak is happening. Okay, unnecessary water is getting wasted. See, water almost, okay, our Earth is called as a blue planet. Yes, but yet majority of those are not consumable or usable by people because it is all salt water, oceans. So when large number of people are living together, resources are very precious. Yes, by that one of the most precious resource is your water. So you have to be very aware of your water leaks, or your blocked drains, because sanitation can become a huge menace. What would happen? Let's assume one thing. If there is logged water, okay, rains have happened, your roads have torn up, there is no proper maintenance, then that will lead for a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Then that will lead to an epidemic of diseases, your vector borne diseases, mosquito based diseases. Yes, this will again cost people in healthcare. Again, people in that particular areas will be affected very largely, because urban area ka one main thing is, in a small section of area, large number of people are living. So it will affect also a very large number of people, right? So this ward committees will keep having a look at all of the problems in their wards and keep reporting to the different authorities who are concerned. Despite, however, effectively that your ward committees do, if there is no active participation from people, then it will not be a full-fledged, or let's say a optimal utilization of your participatory democracy. Okay. Now, this particular aspect of local government depends from each state to another, which means it is a varying concept from one state to another. Okay. Now look at this image. Do you see the ward committee in the first picture? They are organizing health camps. Second picture, they see how much garbage or dust and it is polluted here. See the third image where there is large amount of your potholes, water slogging. At the same point of time, look at the fourth image also. There's good amount of gardens you can walk by. So maintenance of a city, okay, or maintenance of an area where people can live, large number of people can co-live and effectively utilize the limited amount of resources, is possible because of two things. One is your ward committees, which will again be translated to your administration, and second is your people's active participation. Okay. So if you see, what are the roles that your urban local body does, is it most of the times speaks about taking care of the infrastructure. Infrastructure means like such as your roads, parks, gardens, okay, maintaining the burial grounds, garbage collection, waste management, disposal, checking the implementation of government schemes, so that the welfare which the government is wanting to give to the people are met, and then collecting the local taxes, fines, and so on. What are the local taxes? Further down, we will see in the video. Okay. At the same point of time, alongside this, they will also be involved in certain planning activities. Planning activities which will help in the development of the economy and the society. Okay. Now, these bodies will be able to function there, okay, or do their work properly only if people living in that city are also performing their duties well. Meaning how? Let's say, for example, certain cities have this concept of segregating dry waste and wet waste. If you are religiously following the segregation of dry waste and wet waste, it becomes easier for your garbage collectors also, right? Then it will not be a huge menace for them to further segregate. That will be leading into huge amount of issues. So if you do your duty properly, it makes the administration's duty easier. So both combined with this will lead to good governance. So this people doing their duty properly is nothing but you participating in your democratic process, otherwise called as participatory democracy. Okay. Now this was with regard to your waste management. Another thing we kept speaking about was your judicious water usage. So which means let's say if you observe somewhere water is leaking, okay, or a pipe is broken down, or street lights are not functioning, then if you report it to the authorities and the action is taken on time, then it will be a lot of judicious resources are being conserved. Yes. So this is one way how participatory democracy actually leads to good governance. So this becomes an important aspect. Look at this. Okay, this is your people's participation in democracy and its impact on good governance. Now, look at this. The Madras Corporation, okay, which is also now called as Greater Chennai Corporation. This was established as early as 1688. Okay, and this is one of the oldest municipal institution in India. Wherein your East India Company, initially when your British came to trade, that is came to India, they came in the name of trade with your name of East India Company. Okay, so they issued a charter, okay, telling that the area constituting of Fort St. George and all the territories within 16 kilometers of this Fort St. George will be called into a corporation. Okay, and a parliamentary act was also passed in 1792, which gave the Madras Corporation, okay, one important aspect. What it is? Power to levy municipal taxes in the city. So, municipal taxes is important here in order to showcase one point that if at all you want the administration should be explicit or it should be in a good manner, then we need funds to do that. For that funds we to raise, we will be levying something called as taxes. Okay, so now this will bring us to an important concept. What taxes can be levied in a municipal area? Okay, in this case, municipal corporation. See, when we say taxes, the taxes now urban area, local area, both we are calling as your local self government. Yes, just because you call urban area and local area as a combined local self government doesn't mean same taxes are put in both places. When I started out only, I told you compared to urban and rural area, there is a difference. Okay, in the complexity of how your corporations operate or your urban areas operate. One such thing is with regarding to your taxation. Okay, taxation in urban areas is much more compared to your rural areas. Why? Because again, you are calling yourself a corporation, which means a large number of people are living there. Large amount of waste segregation will be there. Water charges will be there. Property charges will be there. Solid waste management has to happen. Again, I told you, because is you're calling this area as urban area is because one thing will be how it is economically contributing. So economically you're contributing how I told service and allied sectors. So service and allied sectors usually will be in the form of businesses, hoardings, trade license should be issued, marriage certificates have to be issued, and because a large number of people will be living in a small space, there will be fire hazards also. So fire services has to be there, licenses have to be there for various small businesses, and because it is urban area we're talking about, large number of people, small amount of resources, judicial usage has to happen. So let's say water is one such important thing. If in case you don't have adequate water, you are supposed to call water tankers. Okay, and any debris clearance has also to happen. Then because you are calling it urban area, you need a lot of transportation connectivity. Yes, for that you will have tree cuttings, tree transportations, and urban areas pay for promised services not being done. You also have to have this grievance redressal. Okay, where you can get services such as your water tankers, septic tankers, auditoriums, funeral vans. Okay, and most importantly your mobile toilet. Let's say in your urban areas, you have to manage waste management, means you also have to have the concept of Swachh Bharat, today's Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. So if you have to make sure that sanitation is properly managed, you also have to create the concept of mobile toilets, and then you have to have ambulances. Okay, so citizen relationship management has to be there. Means what? These are all the services that are offered by municipal corporation. Okay, so if all of this has to be provided by municipal area to you, then they also need some money. If they need that money, where will they raise that money? That money will be raised from your taxes. Okay, so taxes are much more extensive in your urban areas compared to the local areas. Okay, now again, as usual, I told you before itself, your administration of each local area or an urban area in this case is different from state to state. Understanding? Now if you see this, Indore in Madhya Pradesh has been regarded as the cleanest city in India under Swachh Sarvekshan government scheme. So what is this Swachh Survekshan, if you say? Okay, these are one of the ways where they try to highlight how exactly is our city's cleanliness, not only with respect to just looking clean, how was the solid waste management, okay, how exactly is your administration with respect to citizens grievance redressal. Okay, now let's say for example, I will take your Swachh Survekshan of 2025. Means this is led by your Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. I'm talking about urban areas, no? So this is coming under your Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0. Swachh Bharat Mission Urban. I told you again, solid waste management means it will be different for urban area, different for rural areas. So, what exactly is a Swachh Survekshan, which is again by your Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs focusing on means it is advancing on water plus status. What is this water plus status? Water plus is okay. Water plus status means it is also trying to do sewage management. And one most important aspect here you have to see is their focus is on waste to wealth. Understanding? Which means they are telling, yes, you have good amount of waste. How are you going to convert it in a manner that will be beneficial for the city? Okay, so this survey has also introduced something called as Super Swatch League. Okay, Super Swatch League means this is a way of getting a citizen feedback on how can we improve the system better. So when you are introducing this thing called as citizen feedback, you are expecting citizens to participate in the democratic process. I told you, when citizens participate in the democratic process, this will lead to good governance. And now when your indoor or your Swachh Survekshan, like we are talking about, they are introducing it, it is one step towards enhancing participatory governance or participatory democracy and enhancing good governance. Okay, so what are the key focus areas now? Because we're speaking about Swachh Survekshan, we'll say what are the key areas for your Swachh Survekshan of 2025-26 means wastewater excellence. Okay, then also they are trying to introduce new categories of Super Swachh League cities, which means they are trying to create more of competition among cities in order to call out top performers, such as categories of tourism, heritage, coastal areas. Okay, the key theme is, if you see, it is focused on sustainability. What is the sustainability? If you see, I have the resources, I have the advantage of calling this city my place, home. I'm able to generate this. Means same should I leave it for my future generations also? So that is what is sustainability, which means mindfully I use the resources which in a way will not affect my future generations usage of the resources. Okay, so they are focusing on sustainability and circular economy in waste management, and main aspect is your waste to wealth program. Okay, so these are some of the ways that your urban areas are trying to focus with respect to good governance. Now, I told you it will differ from each state to another. Now, here, Indore in Madhya Pradesh is doing this and also getting the cleanest city award is because it is different way of how they are trying to build your participatory democracy. Okay, next, another thing is we saw Chennai also being a municipal corporation, and we saw Indore also being a municipal corporation. I also told you in the starting only, when you say municipal council, okay, you have to have, okay, look at this, municipal council means you are going to call it to an area which has somewhere between 1 to 10 lakh population. Your municipal councils are also called as nagarapalikas. Okay, so first was your nagar panchayat, which is a buffer area from your village to your city. Second is your municipal council, also called as Nagarapalika, where population is ranging between 1 lakh to 10 lakhs. Then above that, 10 lakh and above, we are going to call it as municipal corporation, which will be called as Mahanagar Nigam. Okay, so here we are classifying your urban administration into three types. First is Nagar Panchayat, second is Municipal Council, third is Municipal Corporation. The smallest amount of population will be focused where? Nagar Panchayat. Highest number of population? Municipal Corporation. Okay. So this is how your municipal areas or your, sorry, urban areas are working. Now here they are introducing a story. Okay, what is the story? Means it is between two students. One is Samir and one more is Anita. So your Samir is from your rural area, Anita is from urban area. They exchange pleasantries and tell that your both of them will now try to share how is the village administration, how is the urban administration, and what are the similarities that they find in both of these. Okay, so Anita starts out by telling city. Okay, like we discussed, no, it has a different kind of atmosphere, as in how, as in the fact that large number of people living in small places. Okay, and competing for your limited resources. So city is busy, crowded, tall buildings everywhere, people are always rushing, and there's always noisy compared to the quietness in the rural areas. And because of this, your neighbors may not even know each other. So this is showing the difference of life in urban and rural setup. Now, Samir tells in rural areas everybody knows each other, helps out each other. They come together and celebrate festivals. Okay, and any decisions have to be made, they make it as a community. So, this is the difference that we are speaking about your urban livelihood and rural livelihood, especially from your society perspective. And now, if you see, Anita further goes on to tell, no, still there is sense of community in the city. How? For example, when there are heavy rains, houses will collapse. That point of time, lots of people will gather all around and make sure that no one is trapped inside. And Samir goes on to ask about the local government. Okay. Anita tells, yes, they help us. In fact, we have elected representatives to do this, the ward councillors, etc. Okay, where ward members elect them. They are there to represent the interest of the city only. Now, Samir tells, yes, it sounds exactly like our panchayat, but it is a little bit bigger, which means here we are speaking about the similarities between your urban and rural administration. How, for example, we've seen in the previous chapter also, if any issue happens in that particular village, they will come together, speak as a Gram Sabha to the Gram Panchayat, right? So here Samir goes on to tell that, yes, in our place, okay, um, let's say a particular electricity wire is hanging very low. Okay, that point of time we did not just report it but explained it to one of our Gram Sabha members that electric post should be shifted, and it was done. Meaning what? The Gram Sabha is where again participatory democracy is coming here to make sure that the Gram Panchayat will help and make it happen. Understanding? So, this is one such thing that we are seeing as a similarity. What is that? Participatory democracy leads to good governance, and if this is first point, second point is local self autonomy is the most important factor with respect to your local self government of be it urban area or rural area. Okay, so both are now here agreeing to one aspect. This is how a democracy is supposed to work, whether be it in a urban area or a rural area. So this showcases the similarities and differences of your local self body. Okay, now before we say, okay, this is how your urban or local system is. Okay, what exactly did we learn today? If you see, urban areas pay decentralized governance is there, same thing as with respect to your rural bodies also. But it is a bit more complex because of the activities, resources, okay, sharing, mobilization of people, etc. Now, if you have to go towards good governance or good administration, participative democracy becomes a must, where citizens have to perform their duties to make sure local bodies are able to effectively perform their functions. Okay, with this, we've come to the end of the content. Thank you.